Welcome to Season 3 of Heart of the Gulch. On today's episode, we sit down with businessman and entrepreneur Jim Morris as he talks about his upcoming conference here in Nashville, Impact Effect. In today's Walk the Line episode, we follow Jim to one of his Impact events with Craig Siegel. Let's check out the episode. We are in the heart of the Gulch, and today my guest was my first ever guest here in the heart of the Gulch. Not only was he my first guest ever, man, this is one of the people in Nashville that is constantly making an impact in other people's lives. And not only making an impact in other people's lives, he's also putting together something amazing at the end of the year. And I'm excited to talk to this man. This man has been in Nashville for a while now, and if you haven't heard of him, you're gonna hear about him, that's for sure, especially here in Heart of the Gulch. We got the one and only, the real Jim Morris in the building. What's going on, Jim?
What's up? Thanks for having me, man.
Man, we were talking about this in the studio a little earlier, man. It's just how much has changed in a year when I first started filming this show, man.
A lot has changed, and I think a lot for the better. So excited to dive into that if we tend to go that way, or go wherever you'd like, man. I'm here for you and to chat about whatever you want to talk about.
Well, I'm here to talk about you, first of all. Now, like I said, we got to first start off with the basic stuff. I mean, like I said, I've been watching a lot of videos. You've been doing an amazing job at not only self-promotion, but marketing, bro. So shout out to you, dude. That is amazing. Now, you're from Boston.
Yes, sir.
And you were talking about it a little bit earlier, but yeah, man, Boston. Talk to me about just Boston in general, how you grew up in Boston.
Yeah, so, I mean, cultural differences are real, depending on where you grow up in the United States, right? We all probably agree with that statement. And I think moving and experiencing different things in different places of the United States has allowed me to have a wider variety of perception. And it's also allowed me to not be bound to those things that you've learned over the years as you grow up and, get to adulthood and those things. So one of the things that I've honestly been focusing on the last year has been, what do I need to unlearn in order to then replace that with updated information or data to then grow as a human in today's time or presence, essentially.
Well, so some of the things you've unlearned, give me 3 things that you had to unlearn from growing up in the location that you grew up in.
Well, I would say the first thing is the scarcity mindset. So growing up with parents addicted to OxyContin, eating cereal with water sometimes instead of milk, you are so scared to not have money. And I think one of the biggest things that I've come across in the last year and a half is really transitioning that scarcity mindset to that abundance mindset. And at the end of the day, I always grew up in a place where if we didn't have enough money, we looked to cut costs. And now I look at it and go, okay, I'm throwing this massive conference. We still got some other things coming up. I need to make more money, not look to where to save pennies, right? And a lot of people talk about the whole coffee cup. They spend so much time and effort making coffee at home instead of buying coffee. But the fact of the matter is that doesn't move the needle any which way forward. You're spending about $2,000 a year. $2,000 a year doesn't change your life. If anything, it pisses you off that you can't just go grab a cup of coffee when you need a cup of Joe or your caffeine fix, right? So instead of me thinking, okay, let's look at all the bills and look at all the things I can cut out, why don't I just utilize that time and energy to figure out how I can go make more money, do things that I like, and use my creative mind to build or create things if there's not a path or something that I associate or am passionate about.
Okay, and then a couple other things that you had to give up.
I would say alcohol.
Oh, shout out to that. How far has it been so far?
8 months.
8 months. And like I said, before you guys got to see us in the studio right now, I looked at Jim like, yo, Jim, your face looks phenomenal, dude. And that gets me nervous because these guys see me drink all the time with guests here. And man, your skin is glowing. And I say that in the most nicest way ever.
Appreciate that.
But also you've lost weight, dude. Congratulations, bro.
Thank you. Thank you.
But it doesn't mean that you're giving it up forever.
For me, it's a decision I'll make when I feel like making it. And I think that allows me to hold the control, whereas there's no outside influence. And, you know, I had amazing times drinking. I've met amazing people. I've done deals at bars. I've been connected to people I never would have met walking down the street in the Gulch, right? But the fact of the matter is I'm doing more. I'm playing at a higher level. And what I realized was alcohol was a thief of my time and my clarity. So I need all the time I can get right now because I own 2 businesses, I'm coming out with a planner journal, I'm throwing a massive conference, creating new webinars and pop-up events lately. And I just got married last year and had a beautiful baby child.
Congratulations. When we filmed this last year, you were just starting on that journey. And my goodness, it freaks me out because I think about my life and my girlfriend. I'm like, oh man, if Jim was able to do this within a year, dude, you set me up to fail, Jim. But it's because you know what you like and you go after it. And that's something that I've noticed from you from the jump. Prior to you ever taking a step back and changing things, you go after what you like. But, you know, starting about your businesses, I'm talking about what was the first initial business when you moved to Nashville?
I started an organic frozen beverage company.
And talk to me about the challenges it was prior to 2020.
So I was working full time. That's what brought me here. I took a job here and ran into some unethical situations in the corporate world. Ta-da, who would have thought, right? It's exactly why I left Boston. So same thing happens here. I say, okay, I need to just do this something on my own. I need to jump fully into entrepreneurship. So I had a partner. He had the concept, the recipes. I had the marketing, sales, growth tactics, and we built the company and we did amazing in the first year. And then I left the corporate world and COVID hit. And it completely demolished our business. But the fact of the matter that I didn't give up, I kept pushing forward, and I didn't go back to the corporate world really allowed me to propel myself into other business avenues and ventures in which I spend a majority of my time on today.
And talk to the people that are watching this today that are in their corporate jobs. And I just had a conversation with this earlier today, was how the corporate world is great. It gives you that sense of a foundation. It gives you one thing that people are scared of the most about losing out of a corporate job that you don't realize until you go to business for yourself. Benefits. Super important. That's why you get paid $60,000 is because $40,000 of it is going to benefits. But talk to me about the clarity that your life has been leaving the corporate environment, and what did that do to your mind? Did that open up your entrepreneurial mind to go wherever you felt you are comfortable with?
Well, I believe that most positions in the corporate setting have boundaries and restrictions on them, right? You've got to play the game on their court. And that diminishes free flow thinking, that diminishes creativity. And I think that puts you in a box because we as creatures want to create, we want to own stuff, we want to have the control, and we want to have the involvement. And the suppression of your intelligence and creativity is something that I immediately gained back. Now, you talk about benefits, you talk about the corporate world. Now, I could not do what I have done and are doing without going through the corporate world and learning the do's and also the don'ts, right? Like, one of the things that I'm so thankful and grateful for is having the opportunity to see behind a lot of the curtains in the corporate world, and the relationships I had with the executive team and the president and CEO and all those things, because I actually saw a lot of the behind the scenes. And I realized and made decisions throughout that process to say, okay, I'm going to do that again, and I'm never going to do that.
What were some things that you saw behind the curtain of a corporate environment that you just said, and don't give, we're not going to throw out anybody's business or anything like that, but what did you see that you just said, hey, that's not how I'm going to operate my career path going forward?
We can't do that cultural project to help associates because we're not gonna make as much fucking money. And I didn't start this company to make other people fucking money. I started this company for me to make money.
So it was from the standpoint of not giving back to not only the employees, but also just holding, elaborate
you get
a little
146 turnover percentage ratio, and you don't want to do something that a senior director is coming to you and saying, I need you to help me with this because I'm going to be gone next, right? Like when you start losing your team and you don't have control over the things they're going to keep them there, that's where it gets into that sticky situation of what the hell am I doing?
What about some pros? What are some pros that you saw from the corporate environment that you instill today working for yourself every day?
The hustle and grind.
Talk about it a little bit more.
So, one of the things that I admire is a lot of the people in those higher level positions are constantly hustling and grinding and making sacrifices. So I think for me to see someone play at such a high level, but also make those sacrifices still was amazing because I'm like, okay, this shows grit, determination, commitment, and ultimately a compounding effect, right? This person's been making these sacrifices for 10 years. And that's why they're so successful and the business has grown.
I want to get this. We're going to continue promoting what you got going on at the end of the year. So let's talk about the event that you're working tirelessly for.
Okay. So it's called the Impact Effect. It's not a conference, it's a movement. And what I mean by that is I had such a hard time spending thousands of dollars going to these conferences and getting the VIP and meeting the speakers and doing all these things. And I would leave motivated, inspired, and ready to go run into walls. And I'd come back and I would hit a roadblock in the knowledge and the skill set that they taught me. And one speaker in particular said, here's my cell phone, give me a call, this, that, and the other thing. Over the course of 2 months, I called him 46 times. He never picked up the phone. And I said, wow, that is a hole. There's a gap there. And I quite honestly, I don't believe Tony Robbins that one day event are going to transform your life. I think that's bullshit. I think one day motivates and inspires you. But what do you do after that event, and how do you take action, and how do you have accountability? So for this conference, it's focused on sales, marketing, and mindset. Really going to be geared towards entrepreneurs, business owners, team leaders, marketing companies, sales teams. But how I want to switch it up and do something different is we're going to have a one-day conference. It's going to be 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. That's October 27th. We're going to skip November and December and let you take that knowledge and go apply it into your business, right? And hit the roadblock, get stuck. And I believe that at that point in time is when you need a resource and help. So we're going to bring you back January for an event with 2 speakers to have a Q&A, because you can acquire that knowledge and apply that knowledge and hit that roadblock, and then it's kind of useless. That one day didn't really help you out. So we want people to hit those roadblocks, come back and be able to have a Q&A session in person, feel the energy, be in the room, have the proximity, and help get you through those kind of hiccups or positions where you were stuck. Because ultimately, everybody's business is in a different part of a life cycle of their business, different industries, different wants and needs, different niches within the industry, right? So you take a conference that talks about sales and marketing, and people are going to perceive the knowledge and the skills differently and go try to apply them to their business in different segments and situations. I want to bring those people back to be able to ask questions to those speakers and to really move the needle. And the reason why I call it a movement is because there's accountability that comes with this. We're bringing people back and putting them in rooms to network and connect. And then we're also doing some stuff with our workbook at the event to where you'll submit some goals, and we're going to track them, and we're going to do some coaching and some webinars. So basically you have an event in October. We skip 2 months, January, February, March, and April, we have events. Then we do some accountability, and then we do a webinar, and then we're right back in October for next year. So we're going to throw this event every year until the day I die.
That's amazing. Now, I mean, obviously, game planning so far in advance, and not only, but you're game planning for October, right? October is the big release date, and October 27th. And in that October 27th release date, I mean, talk to me about the challenges you've faced. We're in the middle of the year this year. What has it been like to, go to bed every day, wake up, go at it every day? Because you've done this before, even years prior to that. You've always been a hard worker. You are a hard worker. But I mean, tell me what it's really like to have your name on something big that you want people to come change their lives.
Well, I think for me specifically, there was a point where I lost myself and I had to find myself. So you're throwing this conference, I'm self-funding it. There's a lot of money going into it. There's a lot of sacrifices that my new wife, my new child, and myself are making, right? So there's stress. There's stress about dollar bills. There's stress about what check is this going to go to? And should we put it towards the event? And I got to book this speaker and they need to be paid by now, right? So there's just all those stresses of money. And through that process, I really lost myself and was focused on how this is going to benefit me because of those stresses. And I took a 2-day sabbatical, just didn't work for 2 days, and really tried to figure out what I wanted to do. And I almost actually shut down the company and didn't throw the conference and just was going to fold this thing up at the end of the year, pay my taxes, and be done. And what I realized through that process is the why behind the company. I mean, I started this company in 2020, a week after COVID.
Give the name of the company real quick.
Impact Social Events, to bring together entrepreneurs to help beat the big box stores, because I knew that everybody I was hanging out with and collaborating with and meeting with at the Entrepreneur Center we were small. And I knew that these big companies were just going to take the big piece of the pie and leave us with nothing. So I just got people together to help share contacts, and hopefully I could help another entrepreneur or they could help me, and we could kind of fight this good fight and get through this thing.
So I'm curious, because within the year of us having this conversation, in a way that you found yourself within that year of where's the why behind Impact, and a year of, Heart of the Gulch finding its lane in Nashville, which I'm proud to say we're finally getting there. But where did the confidence, so what I've learned and what I've studied from afar about you, Jim, is that your confidence, your demeanor, your speaking ability, and the way that you operate now has been leaps and bounds from where you were last year. Talk to me about how others can gain that confidence, that they can sit here today and they can have confidence when they speak. They know what they're talking about. You seem like you found your why. How can other people find their why?
So I would say preparation leads to confidence. If you're not prepared, if you're not doing the things you know you need to do, there's this underlying anxiety and stress that I'm not going to be able to perform at the top of my level. So for me, I picked up vaping when I sold a ton of houses. I knew that nicotine was bad for me. Well, I kicked it. I felt more confident now getting up on stage, knowing that subconsciously I don't hate myself because I'm doing something that's bad for me. So I really drilled down all these characteristics of things that I liked about myself and I didn't like about myself. And my ultimate goal was to wake up, look in the mirror, and love what I saw.
Within this year, you've rebranded. Not only rebranded, it went to, you're still doing real estate.
Yep.
But it really showed off that you're now trying to take your name and you're trying to go into that motivational side of things. And you did that all within a year, and you did a great job with it. But talk about how, why you're going to more of the impact of other people's lives and motivating more. Why are you going into that lane more?
So real estate for me isn't never going to go anywhere, right? I love real estate. I make good money. I love negotiating. I enjoy spending time with people in our community. The only thing that's changed for me in real estate is I won't take clients I don't like and don't want to spend time with anymore. I did a lot of that the last couple of years. A majority of the deals I sold were people I couldn't stand. And I just decided I'm not doing that. Life's too short. Nothing to happen. I didn't almost get in a car accident or almost die. I just sat down and was like, I'm doing a bunch of shit I don't want to do. I need to change it. So that's the real estate side of things. But as far as, and I was talking about kind of I lost myself to find myself with this whole impact thing. And the reality of it is I wanted to do things that helped people grow and help people similar to me. So for instance, I wanted to quit entrepreneurship every day for the first 2 years. I had imposter syndrome. I thought I was making the dumbest decision. All the people close to me told me I was stupid, right? All this stuff. And if I can educate someone or motivate or inspire or give them a new perspective, a new skill set to go take to the world, maybe that won't cause them to quit or give up, because I used to be that person and I really needed that inspiration. And I don't know where I found it, quite honestly, but I never gave up.
Who do you look at today that inspires you, whether it's on social medias or on videos? Who do you look at? Who does Jim Morris look at to be inspired?
R.I.P. Kobe.
Wow, you're the second person today to say Kobe. What about Kobe Bryant?
If you watch his interviews, he is committed. He was the guy that was going to the gym when everybody was coming in from a night out. He understands the fact of the compound effect. I mean, the guy just did things that no one else wanted to do to ensure that he was great. He sacrificed and he had discipline and he designed his discipline at a very freakishly high level. You know, like, you want to lose weight, you know, you can't eat that cookie. And a lot of people will say, well, it's just one cookie. That guy never ate a cookie his whole fucking life. Like, ever. Like, that's admirable. That level of discipline blows my mind. I mean, Michael Jordan, same thing, you know? So for me, you look at some of these greats, and I listen to their interviews and their podcasts or whatever, and it blows my mind because I don't even think his best skill set is shooting a basketball.
That's deep. And, you know, not only what blows my mind is that from a previous Bostonian to give such a love to a Laker great blows my mind. But it's because he did what he said he would do. Now, I'm going to ask you the same question that literally an hour ago we had this conversation with someone else here. And I'm going to ask you this question. Do you feel that by his passing that it elevated everyone to see what he really did? Or do you think if he would have continued living, Kobe Bryant, that even more amazing things, bigger things that we could ever dream would have happened?
I think that him passing put him on the forefront of media, which allowed people to dig a little bit deeper and expose some of these hidden interviews or some of these perspectives on life and growth. So yeah, I think him passing put him to the forefront of it, because here's the thing, and I see this and I'm seeing it more and more as I throw events that help educate and are based on the professional development side. You'd think a lot more people pay attention to this stuff. You'd think a lot more people want to learn, they want to educate, and they want to grow. But the fact of the matter is there's not a lot of people paying attention to this stuff because of the distractions and the norms of our society.
And what you mean by that is quick videos, quick clips, other ways to be distracted. That's what you're talking about, correct?
Yeah, I mean, there's so much, right?
And Broadway.
We're in the information age. Whether you want to label it, whether you like it or you're not, there's so much information. So how do you navigate that? How do you find the right information? And I think people are looking and going, dude scored 90 points last night, hit that game-winning 3, and it's not cool, sexy, or fun to talk about the work the guy put in and the dedication and where his head and his mind is, right? The mind is an amazing subject that can do anything you want. It just takes commitment, the compound effect, dedication, and time.
Here, so you got Impact and how you're bringing events in Nashville.
Yep.
So talk to me about what just happened this past month and how you keep on bringing these amazing entrepreneurs, businessmen, real estate men, women as well, all into the same areas to collaborate?
So just like anything, you're always selling yourself a service or a product. That's the reality of it, right? So how do you engage with someone and then provide value to them and get them to come to Nashville to speak, right? Some people are local, some people aren't. Our speaker last month was from Charlotte, and they had to fly in and do all that. But it just comes down to relationships and value, you know, understanding during a phone call, what are they looking for? Can I provide that? And if I can't, that's okay too. Let's be honest and tell them that, right? But having those conversations and figuring out, okay, what's important to them? What are they looking to do? And how can I position them to help people that they want to help? Is this even the right crowd that I'm bringing for them? But it's all down to relationships. And I think once you reach out to someone and you build some rapport and you provide value to them, then it's an idea about a collaboration. It's not an I need or an I want. And I always say this to everybody, like, are you going to benefit from coming to speak? And if the answer is no, then I don't want you there, because you're not going to bring your A game. Because at the end of the day, to go and speak at an event, you have to benefit to really show up and have your mind in it and perform like a pro and give it your all.
What makes a great speaker in one of your events?
I would say someone that speaks to the entrepreneur or business owner, because that's most of the crowd. But I would say from a skill or talent level, someone that's relatable to the room, understanding how you communicate, what that message is, and really just ensuring that you can create the connection. Because at the end of the day, anybody can go up and speak. But if there's a connection between you and the speaker, you're going to be more intrigued to listen. You're going to think about and ask questions. You're going to participate in that, and you're going to take some notes and go take action. And without that connection that speaker has to the audience, you don't get any of that. I am not a fan of presenting or speaking with slides, because I think it distracts the eye to a screen and people aren't listening to the story that I connect with the heart.
What are some of the things that you've seen entrepreneurs and businessmen, businesswomen add value to your events?
Giving people more than they ever thought they'd get. So for instance, a speaker came in, presented, and then gave everybody a free one-on-one consultation, right? 9 people signed up for it. That's 9 hours they just gave value to the audience. It's not just come in, speak, not network, and then jump on a plane and leave, right? If the speaker does that, they'll never come back, because I want them to remove the damn ego and entrench themselves in the lifestyle and life cycle that these people are in their business, because that entrepreneur or that 8-figure or that business owner that's speaking was that person at some point. They were in that life cycle stage of their business. So I want people to remove the ego. And if you've got the ego and you think you're going to show up and talk for 45 minutes and leave and not do Q&A and network, this ain't the right setting for you, because that's where the power happens, where people can ask those questions.
Personally, when you go after, certain speakers and certain personalities to come to your events, and obviously you're looking for certain qualities, but talk to me about, the hardships of some people saying maybe your platform isn't big enough or isn't for them, or maybe, there may be something that be a disconnect. How do you go beyond those situations?
So whenever I reach out to someone, I really want to align myself with what they're speaking on and the crowd and the benefit for them, right? So I actually haven't been in a situation where someone said, I don't think it's a good fit. I have had people who want crazy amounts of money, and I really want to remove the objection of the dollar and really talk about, are you passionate about speaking towards our crowd and towards our people? So for me, if it's something where someone says, hey, I want $100,000, I just got to analyze the reality behind that. And most of the time, those people aren't people that I actually are going to benefit my people. Like, I don't want to put egotistical assholes up there because they're millionaires and billionaires that are bullshit, you know? Just because you want to charge me $100,000 doesn't mean you're worth it.
All right, let's get down to crowd noise real quick.
What's up, Jim? Mr. Boston. So Boston is known for its sports team, so I got a two-part question for you. If you could pick one team to have season tickets for life, including all playoffs, all championships, which would it be and why? Part two of this question would be, who is your most hated rival out of any of the sports? Can't wait to hear what you have to say, my man.
All right.
So
Can't wait.
Red Sox would be the sport to have all the free tickets and all that. And then the rivalry would be the Yankees.
My gosh. Well, you know, I'm curious. So could you just tell from that voice who that was?
That's the voice of that's a millionaire's voice right there. Everybody could tell that voice.
Yeah, Mr. Wanatall himself. But now, you know, so being a Bostonian, do you still, so here's the thing. So by transitioning, moving to Nashville, starting your family here in Nashville, starting your life here in Nashville, flourishing in your business here in Nashville, do you still say that I'm from Boston and that home? Do you consider Boston home, or now at this point, do you consider Nashville home?
I'm from Boston, and Boston is home. It's where I grew up. It's where I spent a majority of my life. It's where I created instances and experiences that I've compounded on to get me to where I am today. You can't take that away from me. You know, the accent might dim down a little bit because I'm not hanging out with my buddies back home, and people talk a little bit different here, and that's who I'm around and I live with and play with and experience life with. But the fact of the matter is that's where I grew up. That's home. That's what I love. Now, in the season I'm at right now, I have decided that we're going to stay in Nashville for a while. So I've now poured into our community as if it's home. Right. And I actually made the switch in my head, and I've given more money than I ever have to local communities. I've given more time. I've partnered with charities. I just went and walked the Natchez Trace to help support my buddy who started a charity to help kids and families with autism. Like, I want to ingrain myself in the community because it's now my community. Boston's still home. This is now my new community.
I love that. Now, I'm curious to know, you said work and play here in Nashville. How many Bostonians or ex-Bostonians are there here in Nashville?
There's a lot, man. There's a lot of Bostonians here.
Has it been something fun where you've gone to these events or hosted your own events and people pop up and say, hey, I'm from Boston too?
Yeah, it's super cool because there's always that like nostalgia of things that you remember and someone else remembers because they grew up there, but you never think about it. So it's like, oh yeah, man, you lived over on Columbia Ave. Dude, that Burger King's crazy past 9 o'clock, huh? And it's like, oh yeah, dude, I saw this crazy fight. The cops are always there. And it's like, man, I didn't even think about that Burger King in the last 10 years, but man, that Burger King is crazy.
Okay, and then what about when you head over to Boston every once in a while when you do? When you say that you are living in Nashville, what is the first thing that pops up, or what is something that always pops up in that conversation?
Line dancing and cowboy boots.
And how often do you actually see that here in Nashville?
Only from tourists.
Only from tourists, and we don't see it as much, right? Not even in your events, you don't see very many boots, do you?
No.
Nice dress ups and everything, right?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, Nashville is a growing city that brings in a lot of different experiences and exposure from other areas. I mean, it's a melting pot. Let's just be realistic, you know? I hope that doesn't change all of the characteristics and core values of Nashville, because I think that's what makes it special. But there's a reality there, you know? Okay,
so I got one more question. Let's see what this question says.
Most challenging impact social event that you've had so far?
What has been the most challenging impact social event you've ever hosted?
So I threw an event where we had to spend a certain amount of money. And if we didn't spend that amount of money, Jim Morris had to pay it. So we had a ton of people there. It was an amazing event. There was an amazing stage. We had people show up that we didn't think would. There was some really high level folks that were there. It was an amazing event. So I'm going through the night in the evening and I'm super excited and I'm jazzed up. And then all of a sudden the next day they hit my credit card with like $2,800. And I'm like, what happened? So we start chatting about it and I'm like, they said we didn't spend really any money. I'm like, that's not true. Well, the fact of the matter was the bartenders were stealing all the money. So it wasn't going towards my bill. And it was just challenging to tell someone that's already taken my money that, no, you're wrong. And it's a major player in downtown. It's a big company. It was new. Tell them that they're wrong. And I believe that your staff are stealing. And of course, the person's first inclination is to protect their staff, and that's who works for them, and I get that. But to navigate that situation was difficult, and the fact of the matter is each of those bartenders stole $800 in cash that night, and we're giving out free drinks.
Well, I'm sorry.
So you just have things like that are out of my control, but I have to deal with, fix, and make better, you know?
On a lighter term there, I guess not lighter term, because I always ask the same two questions at the end of every interview that we do here. And then we're going to go into your walk the line section. And that's when people get to see you do your thing, whether it's in an event, whether it's just you brainstorming or going to events. We'll find out soon. But my last two questions always have to do with the naysayers, the haters, the person that doesn't want to see you flourish. What do you do, Jim Morrison, every day to just go beyond not letting that affect your daily life?
Well, first, I was definitely someone that did affect my life. I remember creating a reel when I first started doing video that got like 35,000 views, and it was just everybody making fun of me because I mixed up two words. And it was to the point where there were so many comments and negativity that I first deleted Instagram and then I deleted the post. So I used to let it affect me to a level of insanity almost, right? Like I had to delete an app because someone I didn't know had something to say about me. Now I'm in a position where it fuels the fire. It's almost like gasoline. And you can do two things. You can play the game and interact with that person, or you can ignore them. I tend to ignore people more than I play the game. But I've actually taken a new approach more recently to where I actually want to dig deeper at those haters and really figure out what's going on in their life that is causing them to be so aggressive and angry and mean, and honestly kind of try and figure out how I can help them.
Man, that sounds like a growth, if anything, man, because I know you're from Boston and I know how Bostonians can get if someone makes them angry. So just by that alone, I think is an amazing accomplishment to kind of find that why within you and changing and impacting someone's life, because that's why you made the business, is to impact other people's lives. Now, let's talk about 2023. This is always my last question. We are in the middle of 2023. I'm going to get this out before your event because that's just the kind of timing I'm on, because I want to make sure that everyone hears about this event.
Appreciate it. Now,
talk to me about 2023. What are you looking forward to the most, and how are you working towards that goal of creating this event today?
Totally. So I guess it would be the conference. October 27th is what I'm looking forward to the most. In order to pull this off, it's really about who, not how. I don't know all the aspects to accomplish this, just being honest. So what I'm doing, and my main focus, is collaborating with people that have either done it, are eager to help based on the reason why we're throwing the conference. So not someone that's saying, hey, I've got a skill set, pay me this money and I'll work for you. Really, like, do you believe in what we're doing? Do you believe in giving back to the community? Do you want to help people at the level we're doing this? Because it's going to be hard. It's going to take a lot of energy, and there's going to be high expectations. And so for me, I'm really trying to just associate myself with people that believe in the cause and will help throughout the process however they possibly can. And the more people I meet that are like that have been just absolutely amazing. I mean, there's people that are reaching out to me. Hey, I see what you're doing. I want to be a part of it. Hey, I can't pay you because it's not in our budget, but if you want to spend some time and dive in with it, oh yeah, I don't want to be paid. I just want to be part of this. I see what you're doing. I want to be part of the community. I'm like, man, that's amazing. That is freaking amazing. So I think my biggest thing, and it always has been my biggest thing, how can I meet more people and how can I help people and spend time with them? And if we align on core values and ethics, then let's do some things together. Whether that's me helping with your event, you helping with mine, me helping with your business. You know, some of the people that have reached out to help me with Impact, I've actually turned around and helped and consulted on their business and helped them grow as people and entrepreneurs. And it never started like that. It just them, they didn't want to be part of what I was doing. And in turn, they just got free consulting. Well, and it's not that I'm an expert consulting. I'm just going to tell you all the stuff that I messed up in hopes that you can not go do it the hard way like I did.
How do you level your, and before we get to your day in life, because I'm excited to see it, how are you leveling your expectations for this event? Because it seems like it's all systems go for October 27th, that's exactly how it is. I know you're getting a lot of sleepless nights thinking about October 27th, but for this event, how are you setting the bar to where, you know, people are not only going to get value, but I mean, seriously, what is the value that people you are promoting today that is going to showcase on October 27th?
So for me personally, I've already won. Not one person can show up October 27th and I've already won. And I've won, and my mindset is that way because I did something that I said I was going to do and I didn't give up on it through the hardships that I had. Number one. Number two is because of this event and because I have something to offer a speaker, I've gone on Zooms with idols, people that I never thought I'd engage a conversation with, and I'm on a 45-minute Zoom with that person, and it was free. Like, dude, I've already gotten massive education just interviewing people and putting my name and myself on the radar. Like, that's worth the investment alone of what I've got into this thing. And we're not talking $100,000 here. We're talking several $100,000 invested in this thing. So for me, I've already won. Now, you asked me about value for people and how I'm bringing that value for the attendees. I built a curriculum. The speaker didn't build the curriculum. So what I mean by that is you go to a lot of conferences and a lot of events where it's a jumble. And the only reason why they threw the event is because this person did it for this price and they had 10 grand left. So they gave 10 grand because this person could do it for 10 grand. And it's just a mess. There's no real curriculum education planning behind it. That's where I started. So when I go and I say, hey, bro, who do you want to see at the event? And you tell me someone absolutely amazing and they have nothing to do with my curriculum, I'm not even going to go interview that person. And I think a lot of people throw events where they just grab speakers and it's cost focused and all this. And, oh, a bunch of people told me this person was great, so I'm going to have them. And it's just, it doesn't flow. So for me, I've taken so much time and effort in the planning phase of the curriculum to ensure that we're going to drop some heat. Like, shit, we might as well call this thing Spit and Fire because it's just going to be flames and it's coming in hot. We've got some amazing speakers. I've already had several meetings with them. We've already tied down some concepts. Some we're still working through, but it all flows and it all comes back sales, marketing, and mindset. And it's not just like you need to build a personal brand. Like, how do you build a personal brand? How do you be real? How do you obtain content? How do you disperse the content? How do you use the life hacks, but also realize that you have to show up and put in work and create effort and motivate yourself when you're having a bad day? I mean, look at me, dude. I got a cut on my chin today. I could have called you and canceled today.
I didn't even notice until you said it.
Right? I could have called you and canceled today, but I knew that we were going to have an amazing conversation. The time is now, and I'm going to show up, and I'm fired up, and I don't care what my face looks like. Keynote.
Ooh, I love it. Well, Jim, the way that we end the show every time, you say your name, you say your organization, and you say, this is how I walk the line, and that is your day in the life. And I'm excited to see where you're going to take us for your day in the life. You ready to go?
Yes.
All right, here we go in 3, 2.
Jim Morris with Impact Social Events, and this is how I walk the line.
Hey, it's Jim Morris. Welcome to AB Hillsborough Village. That's the location we're at tonight. We're throwing an amazing event. We've got amazing keynote speakers, Craig Siegel, Brandon T. Adams. And the coolest part about tonight is actually the people in the room. We've got a lot of folks in different industries, entrepreneurship, business owners, and different perspectives on life and different mindsets. So I'm super excited because it's crowded out there right now. We're gonna drop some knowledge, educate, help some folks, but more so dive deeper into people's lives and really have an impact. So join us tonight for a wonderful event with Impact Events and Jim Morris. Build those relationships and make those connections. Because a lot of people here are looking for the same exact thing that you're looking for. A friend, a potential business partner, a tribe. And I urge you to break the norm. I urge you to put a little bit more effort into your conversations and stop having cotton candy conversations. Like, push the fluff away, guys. Cotton candy is cool when you're 7 at a carnival, right? Not when you're trying to build a business, not when you're trying to change lives. Is this resonating with anybody?